And we are back with another episode on Across the Board. It is Friday night. All the games for the NHL have concluded for the beginning of the Olympic break. A much needed break for some teams. Some teams maybe wish it didn't happen, as is how they've been playing. Columbus being one of those teams. But today, going to go over the playoff picture as always. Break down some teams. We'll kind of jump into LA and also kind of talk about them, especially getting Panarin in the trade. And then talk about a couple of other teams in the mix and see if they can get into a wild card spot. But with that being said, let's go and jump to the playoff picture right now. So we're going to start in the Eastern Conference and the Atlantic Division. You have Tampa Bay at 78 points, Montreal at 72 points, Detroit at 72 points. In the Metropolitan Division, you have Carolina at 78 points, Pittsburgh at 70 points, New York Islanders at 69 points. In the wild card slots, you have Buffalo Sabres at 70 and Boston at 69. And then in the hunt on the outside, you have Columbus at 65 points, Washington 65 points, Ottawa 63 points, Toronto 63 points, Philadelphia 63 points, or 61 points, Florida 61 points, New Jersey 58 points, and New York Rangers 50 points. That's playoff picture in the East. Now we'll start in the Atlantic Division and break down these teams in the Atlantic. Starting with Tampa, they have been an elite team. They have played outstanding. The depth. Darren Ratch played well at defense. My coach Victor Hedman was injured. He's came back and kind of worked his way back into the lineup. Braden Point is out. He's been out. Anthony Cirelli's now out. But what they've been able to do in the depth that they have, that's huge. That's huge for a team to be successful, and they've done it. And, of course, Vasilevsky playing at an elite level. He has been one of the best goalies in the league, and he has been a huge part of Tampa's success this season. What they've been able to do on both sides of the rink, whether offense, defense, neutral zone, and just doing the things necessary to be as successful as they have been this season. They're playing well, and for me, they're my favorite to win the Cup right now. I kind of have them slightly ahead of Colorado. I think they've been playing consistent as late. Have kind of shown I think they are the better team. But that's something to keep up with. And I mean, again, Colorado's still an elite team in the West. But Tampa's been playing well, and I'm excited to see how they continue the success over the season. And then, second in the Atlantic, you have Montreal, 72 points. This is a young team that is scoring. This team can score the puck. That is one thing that this team does very well. Offensively, what they are able to do at the age they are, they're third in the league in goals for per game. I mean, that just says how they are, how productive they are on the offensive side of things. They're seventh in the league on the power play. They're an elite power play team. And not just power play, but they are an elite offensive team. They can score the puck. No questions asked there. The big question is, I think, at the goaltending slot. Can Dobish be the guy? I think that is a big question for Montreal. Goaltending is going to be the big question. Montembeault's not had a great season. But can Dobish be that guy for Montreal? And that's going to be a huge factor for this team to be successful. Can they get the goaltending necessary? All right, now we head to the third team. We have Detroit. They're also sitting at 72 points. They have been a solid team that has not really been outstanding and haven't been awful. They've just been in the middle. And I don't want to say they've been mediocre, as in their play. They've been playing good hockey, but you look at the numbers, they're just a team that, fundamentally they find ways to win games. John Gibson's been playing well in net. Again, scoring-wise, they're kind of, you look at their numbers, kind of where they sit in the league, they're kind of just middle of the pack in a lot of these numbers. Like, for example, in goals for per game, they're at 20th. So they're little bit on the bottom side of things. In goals allowed per game, they're sitting at 21st. On the power play, they're 9th in the league. They've had a good power play. And then, on the penalty kill, they've been 15th in the league. I mean, offensively, they haven't been explosive, but they've been solid enough. They're just an interesting team. Again, John Gibson has played well this year. He kind of had a little bit of a slower start, but he's been playing well and he's progressed throughout the season. They're going to be an interesting team to watch. Kind of interested to see how they play the remainder of the season. And, of course, kind of where I'm going to put them in my playoff bracket, pending if they make it, because I'm obviously, we're going to make one of those when that time comes. But, again, I think they got to score the puck a little bit more. They're getting good goaltending, and that's a big part of their success. When you're getting a goaltending, you can be a successful team, and they've gotten it. So for them, that's huge. And John Gibson has been a huge part of their success along with Cam Talbot when he's had to come in. Now head to the Metropolitan Division. Carolina, not much to say except they've been playing great hockey. Seth Jarvis has been elite. Brandon Bussey in net has been outstanding. Again, this Carolina team is going to be a good team. I mean, the question still remains for me: can they get over the Eastern Conference Final hump? That is the big question. Can they get over that hump? Can they finally reach the conference final? But it's going to be tough because there's some good teams in the East. They're going to have a tough road ahead of them. But can they get over that hump? Is the big question for Carolina. Now, Pittsburgh at 70 points. To me, Pittsburgh is a sneaky team. I've talked about Montreal being explosive on offense. Pittsburgh is a sneaky explosive team on offense. They find the back of the net. They've got goal scorers, and they've got veteran guys. You got Anthony Mantha playing well, and of course Sid the Kid. You got Evgeny Malkin on that team as well. They're 5th in goals for per game. On the power play, they're 4th in the league. I mean, they're an explosive team on offense. They can find the back of the net. You look at the goaltending side of things as well. That's kind of been the big thing. Is going to be the big thing for Pittsburgh. Right now, I believe they are sitting just inside the top 10. I think they're right at 10 in goals allowed per game. And again, that's been my question. I think Stuart Skinner's been a great pickup for Pittsburgh. And Sheeloss has played well. Can this two be a good goalie tandem and kind of get them to the playoffs? I think they can be a sneaky team. Can you get playoff caliber goals out of these guys? Again, Skinner's nothing new to him. He's been to that position before. But can you get that elite goaltending from Stuart Skinner? And can Sheeloss also play well? That's a big question for Pittsburgh. Is going to be the goaltending for me. So can Stuart Skinner play at an elite level and propel this team far in the playoffs? That's the big question. New York. Again, David Riddick, Ilya Sorokin, goaltending is outstanding. My question, and still sits here, is the offense. Like, the only thing when I look at New York, it is offense. They are currently 3rd in the league in goals allowed per game. They are a good team defensively, and they're getting great goaltending. Here's the problem. You look at the offensive numbers. They're 24th in goals for per game. And on the power play, and this is where the issue arises here as well. On the power play, they're 30th in the league. I mean, where are you going to generate this offense from is the big question. You get Andre Palat. You get Andre Palat, and you're kind of hoping that can add and kind of almost like Panarin. Again, Panarin is an elite player, but you add Andre Palat to your roster to add to your scoring because you need that scoring. To me, that has been the big thing with New York. I think goaltending wise, they're going to be a good team. That's on the defense side of goaltending, they will be fine. The big question being, can this offense be productive? And that is a huge question. And for me, I just, that's where my concern sits with New York. I just don't think this offense has shown me yet that they can get going. Now they have at times, though. I shouldn't really say I haven't seen it. They've been exposed. They put up 9 in a game. They put up 5 the other night against Pittsburgh. This is a good. They can show it on offense, but they've got to be consistent with it. They've got to be able to find the back of the net if they want to be a Stanley Cup team, let them make a deep run in the playoffs. Now we head to the wild card slot. Buffalo. They've gotten the goaltending with Alex Lyon and Caden Ellis. I mean, when you're having guys like Caden Ellis step up in these big moments and make the saves that he made when they played Tampa the other night, being a prime example, that is huge. That is huge to a team's success. You got to have that goaltending to be a playoff team at elite level. Again, they've buckled down defensively. That's been a big change for them. And again, and offensively, they've gotten going. They're 8th in goals for per game. Now, you look at the power play numbers, they're right in the middle of the league at 16th. On the PK, that was another thing that they were second at one point. Now they're at 7th. But defensively, they buckled down. They're scoring. They are playing like a playoff caliber team. And they're getting goaltending. And that is huge to what they've been able to do on this stretch they've been on and on this streak. And just how in this moment where they're winning games and they're not going on that losing streak. They're winning games, they're being successful, and they're beating good teams. And this is just an exciting time, an exciting thing to see from the Buffalo Sabres. Now, we head to the final team in the playoff picture. It is Boston. Boston got 69 points, and they are 4 points ahead of Columbus and Washington. You look at this team, I think offensively, they have been a team that is no surprise, been good. They're 6th in the league goals for per game. The issue that lies with me in Boston is the goaltending. Can Swayman and Korpisalo, can they be elite goaltenders, or can they be solid goaltenders to get this team through the regular season? Swayman and Korpisalo did not have a great start to the season, but this team can find the back of the net. The talent they have, they can do it. But can they get that goaltending from Swayman and Korpisalo to propel them into the playoffs? That's my big question with Buffalo. Or excuse me, not Buffalo, with Boston. So that will be to be determined if that can propel and get them off where they need to be. I do want to mention a couple other teams. Columbus, they've been on a 7-game win streak. They made the change to Rick Bowness. They're 9-1-0 in their last 10, and nothing's getting in their way. They're playing great hockey. They're winning games. They're going to be an interesting team to see if coming out of the Olympic break, if they could make a push to the playoffs. They're going to be an interesting team to watch. And then right behind them, Washington. They're 4 points off. They've got talent, but defensively, again, to me, this has not been a solid defensive team this year. I've talked about it. I think there's holes in this defense that have got to be fixed. But the biggest surprise in the East has been Florida. Goaltending hasn't been there. Defensively, they haven't been great, but they've battled injury, and that's so tough to, it's tough battling injury. Again, you can't make excuses. You have to go play with who you have, and you have to win games, and Florida hasn't done that. Now, coming out of the break, could they go on a run? Absolutely, but they're going to have to put something together fast, and every point is valuable. That's the mindset going forward for anybody just outside the playoff picture. Now, let's head to the Western Conference. In the Central Division, they have Colorado at 83 points, Minnesota at 78 points, and Dallas at 77 points. Vegas at 68 points, Edmonton 64 points, Seattle 63 points, And then in the wild card spot, you have Utah at 64, Anaheim at 63, and then a couple teams on the outside. LA 60, Nashville 59, San Jose 58. LA is a team we're going to get to after we break down these teams currently in this playoff picture right now. Colorado, they've kind of, in their last 10, they're 4-5-1. They've kind of sputtered off between some bad goaltending nights and just mistakes made on the ice. But they're still an elite team. They're going to be a good team. They're going to find the back of the net. They're going to get pucks in the net. I mean, they're going to be a good team. So I'm not concerned there. Minnesota, again, they've been playing an elite level. You look at them. Again, Quinn Hughes. They get Quinn Hughes. That was huge for them. They've been playing solid hockey. They've honestly gotten solid goaltending this season. Again, they kind of had some moments defensively this year that have been a little shaky and questionable, but they seem to have kind of gotten back on track. Scoring wise, they're 11th in the league at 3.31 goals per game. I mean, they're going to be a solid Cup team. The thing is, the Central is so stacked, it's going to be a tough go around for the first round in that Central Division. And speaking of Central Division, talk about Dallas, the other team there. They've gotten hot, just like Minnesota. They've gotten hot. Minnesota won 5 in a row. Dallas has won 6 in a row. They're playing great hockey, and this is a huge step in the right direction. They've had their moments. The big thing is they've allowed teams to come back in games though. They've given a couple 3-goal leads, and that's a little concerning. Especially being a team that's not very, I would say, very used to. Especially from a couple of years ago, them not giving up any third period, not much in the third, but they've given up some in the third this year. That's my only concern. But again, you kind of just want to think it's a little bit of just kind of a slump and a little bit of a brain fart in that moment. But again, the Central Division stacked. I'm excited to see how that all pans out the rest of the season. Now in the Pacific Division, Vegas. I mean, I could go on Vegas and make a whole video if I wanted to. They've got 2 big wins. They beat Vancouver. They beat LA for the end of the break. And those are big wins. They're steps in the right direction. You allowed no more than 2 goals in both those games. And you had the lead in both of those. You took the lead. That's been the struggle. Vegas play from behind. It's tough. They are a good comeback team, don't get me wrong. But try to do that night in and night out, and even try to do that in the playoffs, that's brutal. You're not going to be able to keep that consistent pace up. So that's huge. Goaltending is going to have to be big. Schmid and Aiden Hill are going to have to be good. No clue on Carter Hartwell's return. But some returns to us come back for Vegas after the Olympic break, which will also be huge for that roster. So we'll see kind of how they turn things around going forward in Vegas. Edmonton. Goaltending. You thought the issue was kind of fixed, and let's just say it really wasn't the hope. It really hasn't worked out well as of late. They're 8th in the league in goals allowed per game. 8th worst, allowing 3.29 per game. They're scoring 3.41, so that's kind of keeping them ahead of the pace. But they have not been getting good goaltending, and that is tough. That does not do you any justice as a team, especially when you need those big saves. And in those moments, you need the few extra saves. Like, that's the big thing. Like, Tristan Jarry's got an 8.893 save percentage, 3.07 goals against average. He's not playing great. And then, you go and look at the guy who's currently behind him, and if we're being honest, it really does not get any better. At Connor Ingram, I mean, he's got a .89 save percentage. Now his goals against average 2.67, but I mean, he's not really, I would say playing that many games. I mean, Tristan Jarry's been your guy. So, again, the goaltending has got to even, and that has been the issue in Edmonton. It's been the goaltending. That's why you moved on for Stuart Skinner. You go to Tristan Jarry, you're like, okay, maybe this is the turnaround you need. But it hasn't. It hasn't been the way you want it to, and that is my huge concern. You've got to get the extra saves to be a good team in the playoffs. You have to get the few extra saves. And that is my concern with Edmonton. Seattle, they're sitting here, 63 points. They've just been so streaky. My concern being the consistency. Like, they've had moments this year. Again, they went 1-9 and 0 on a stretch, 1-9 and 1 on a stretch. And then they went 7-0 and 2 on a stretch. I mean, that's hard to bounce around, consistently wise, and relying on that team to get into playoffs. Like, to me, that's a little concerning. And, depending on who you are, you may see it differently. I mean, they're not scoring a lot. They're 2.8 goals per game. They're 23rd in the league. And the goals allowed department, I mean, they've gotten solid goaltending. Currently, they're 8th in the league, or excuse me, 9th in the league in that category with Grubauer and the court playing well. They've got the goaltending. They're not really scoring much. Their special teams isn't great. I mean, they haven't been an outstanding team, but the consistency, and how I kind of talked about with Utah, again, you got to have that consistency to be a good team in the NHL and in the playoffs. And to me, I haven't seen that consistency come from that team. Again, they've been streaky. You see the runs they've gone on, but that's a concern for me. And then the next team, you have Utah. Utah has just been an interesting team. I mean, I was one of the people that talked about them need to be consistent. They're 14th in goals allowed, or excuse me, in goals for per game. I mean, so they're better than average in that department. They're 4th in the league with Vejmelka in net. He's been playing well this year. They're getting the good goaltending. There's a lot of talent on this roster. There is a lot of potential on this roster, I should say. Again, they've kind of buckled down, and I think they will be a playoff team. Again, I think they're going to be more of a wild card team, though. I don't think they're going to be anything other than that. I mean, obviously not with how good the Central Division has been, but I think they'll have that first slot in the wild card spot. There's talent. They're just, again, nothing special. And then, like you said, I mean, the special teams is a huge part of this. In the power play department, they're 31st in the league. Then you look to the penalty kill, they're 16th. Special teams isn't great. I mean, there's just a lot of factors that you need to go right to be a good team. Special teams being one of those. 14th in goals for per game, which is solid, but you need a little bit more than that. But you're getting good goaltending. So can Vejmelka kind of propel them and kind of get them in a position where, hey, we could win we could be a good team in the West, and could we get the playoffs and then possibly win a playoff series? We'll see from there. And then the final team, you have Anaheim, 63 points. The goaltending and the goals allowed per game has been brutal. Though Stahl, though, has dialed in. He has been playing solid. Again, defensively and goaltending has been my concern with Anaheim. Like, you look at the numbers for this team and the goaltending department, okay? They allow the 4th most goals allowed per game. In the shots allowed department per game, they are 12th. They allow the 12th most shots. Those stalls dialed down in the late comings of recent. But again, this team, goaltending-wise, has not been great. Defensively, they've had their struggles as well. Offensively, they're 15th in goals for per game. So, I mean, they're kind of, again, right in the average department. But again, they allow the fourth most goals per game, which, again, does you no justice. And then, on the penalty kill, they're 22nd. Again, goaltending not being great. But again, with this team, there's a lot of young talent. But again, goaltending's going to have to be better. And if Lucas Dostal plays how he's been playing of late, this team could be dangerous. Maybe not, go far in the playoffs, but they could go for a first round and give a sneaky good bid in the first round. Now, that's the playoff picture. I do want to talk about one team, though. I want to talk about LA. There are 3 points out of the playoff picture right now. I think the big question is, does LA get in? The simple answer is yes. I think LA finds a way to get into the playoffs. I do. Number one, the goaltending is good. It's good for this team to be a playoff team. They've gotten it from Forsberg, Kemper, or they've gotten the goaltending to be a good team. Number two, you add Panarin to your roster to strengthen your goal scoring. That's why you get him. There is talent on this roster. There is no question. Kuzmenko can be good, and he has been good. Byfield has struggled, but you're hoping to get him going. Kevin Fiala, Warren Vogel. You add Panarin to add to your scoring. This team will be a playoff team. They will. They're going to get the goaltending. That's kind of been a must, a kind of a guarantee at some points. The big question, can they start fighting the back of the net? And that's the big question going forward for this team. Can Panarin add a spark to this offense? But with that being said, that's going to cover and conclude today's video. We covered the playoff picture, broke down some of the teams, almost all the teams actually in the playoff picture, and gone over the goods, the bads, the questions. With that being said, go check out our podcast or other episodes. We post every Monday and Thursday, new episode. So go check those out on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, and then go check out some clips on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram. And go show some support and go follow those. And that's all I have for you. Go check out our new episode that will be out on Monday.